Fortunately, the guy who's going to come up next is not going to make these type of mistakes. He's going to absolutely nail it. And the guy's name is Elliot Shepherd. Now, he's a ninja. He's from Ninja Blocks. And he's going to talk to us about what's called the Internet of Things. Now, if you think about it, what the Internet, when it was first put together, what was it? It's a whole lot of Unix boxes, basically linked in a number of different educational military institutions in the US. Then we brought on consumer-based computers. Then we brought on tablets and smartphones and things like this where people can carry mobile stuff in their pocket. Now, while you're kindly excited about the ability to share pictures of you... Oh, it has come back up. We did say pink, but thanks for trying. While you're getting excited about being able to share pictures of your cat, the internet is leaping forward, leaps and bounds. We flirted very briefly with the idea of giving everybody's fridge an internet connection. Didn't work because why the hell would you want to stand in front of your fridge and browse? It's just completely non-user useful. Meanwhile, guys like the ninjas are going to change the way that users, hey, it's pink, are going to change the way that users interact with stuff in their home. Now, I'm not going to give away any more. I'm going to get Elliot to come up and tell us exactly how it works. Please welcome Elliot Shepherd. Thanks, Elliot.
It's working?
Right there.
Is there something? Ah, there we go. Great. Hi. Okay, so my name is Elliot Shepherd. I'm with Ninja Blocks, and today I'm going to be talking about IoT, the Internet of Things, and what Ninja Blocks is doing to get it into homes. So, first off, Internet of Things. Looks extremely complicated, can be extremely complicated. The Internet of Things is basically two things. It's about getting devices connected to the internet and connected to each other. The first part of that is great. Very easy. Lots of it's done. You can go to Apple Store now and buy lights that connect up to the internet. The problem is the second half. The second half of connecting together leads to this. Because there are so many different manufacturers making these devices, and they're making their own platforms and their own protocols, none of them talk to each other. It's impossible as a consumer right now to really build a whole house that is doing this stuff because none of it can communicate with each other. They're all speaking different languages. So that was what the first version of Ninja Blocks was there to do. We released this in 2012. It was a Kickstarter. We raised $100,000. And then after the first Kickstarter, we released a second version, a much prettier one that's sitting to the right of that. Since then, selling thousands, the users, very technical users playing with this, wrote drivers to connect these Ninja Blocks in their home up to many of the things that services and devices you saw on the previous slide. Now, it is still very technical at this point. What the problem became, not connecting to these devices, but connecting to people. It's the user interface that became the problem. The next version, the Ninja Sphere, which you can see a demo of over there, is there to solve that problem. It's about smoothing out the rough edges of IoT to make it usable in the home. Because at the moment, smart devices, the lights I was suggesting, you can go to Apple and you can buy something, but while some of these devices have great interfaces, like the Nest thermostat has a beautiful physical interface that you can touch and adjust. It replaces an existing thermostat, so you don't need to wire up your house. Thermostats are used less in Australia, but in the States, they can just take the thing off and put a new one on. Most smart devices, though, are really just a normal device with a phone app. And anyone that's gone to buy these things will realize quickly that taking a phone out to change to turn your lights on and off is about the worst possible interface you could have. But that's exactly what they're asking us to do. Every one of these apps, you end up, if you own lots of these things, you've got one for your microwave, you've got one for your air conditioner, it's filling up your iPhone. Even just for lights, you can imagine, if you want to buy lights from more than one manufacturer, you could have to take out 8 different versions of different apps just to turn the lights off at night. What people really want is something that's more natural. They don't want to have to pull out their phones. They want something that they can just use. I'm going to be talking about 3 of the things, the 3 types of interfaces that we're bringing in with Sphere that we think are going to be part of all IoT in the future in the home. The first of those is gesture, now also known as waving your hand around. It's getting quite popular, especially for games. At the moment, all of the major game things are using gestures. The technology is improving incredibly fast. So with advances like the e-field gesture that we've got in the Sphere, you're going to start to see this used all over the place, all over your home. It's okay. We consider it a sometimes interface. You're not always going to want to go over and change the volume like this. I mean, sometimes it's nice. That's good. Sometimes it makes sense to, as you're leaving the house, you've got one in the lounge room, you can just double tap to turn everything in the house off. That makes sense, but you can't do everything with it. If you don't have to actually go over and do something, there is the next one that we think is going to help. It's presence. So presence is, we know where you are in the house. We know who you are. So there's an example here. I'm going to show. I was going to show a video. Doesn't matter. Yep, there it goes. Okay, so what we've got here is Sam. Sam's one of the developers at NinjaBlocks. He's also the guy that actually wrote all the code that we're using for this demo here. So what he's wearing is a Fitbit. It's a wearable that you buy it to track how much movement you're doing and how far you're traveling each day, so you can see nice graphs about how much exercise. What we're using it for here is, as a BLE device, we're capturing the signals that this comes out as with the Sphere, processing it and working out what room you're in. As he walks, we're then turning on the lights in the rooms that he's going into. So you can see it turn off there. You come back out, it turned back on. So that's presence. That's the next type of interface. You can see, I mean, apart from lights, you can see that this could be used for a lot of things when you're going to sleep. It might not happen all the time, which leads us into the next one. It makes sense at night if you're getting up to go to the bathroom at 2 o'clock in the morning. You don't want the lights to immediately come on and wake everybody up. So the next part that you need is context. Context is the third part of the interface. So 2 o'clock in the morning, you wake up. Maybe you just want the lights in the hallway and the bathroom to go up to 5%, just to lead you in. You go in, you go out. Now, this all sounds complicated and all sounds too automated, but you get used to it, and once you trust it, you don't need to think about going and switching on the light anymore. It's a trust thing that comes up. So imagine you wake up in the morning. We know who you are and where you are. We know your schedule. We've got control of your lights. We know the weather. We can wake you up at the right time based on the traffic for you to get to your first meeting. We can make it nice, cool lights that will energize you in the morning. We can then, as when you get home, they're much warmer lights to relax you after the day. And then if you start watching a movie, they'll go down. You pause the movie, it goes back up. By the time you go to bed, in your incredibly photoshopped apartment, it will have gone down so that if you have too much white light at night, you can't get to sleep. So if you start bringing it down, you have nice warm lights, it's a lot easier. Now, I've talked about lighting. Lighting is an easy one to describe, but if you can imagine what's better, heating, cooling, hot water, these things can all be controlled in similar sort of ways. We know what you've done the day before. We know you have to get up early so we can get the hot water heater going. You can imagine the amount of saving if we don't need to be heating the water all the time. Sustainability. Just as a side note, because they said they'd like us to mention it, but you can see how that could come into it. See? There's our Ninja logo. Thank you very much.